Okay, it's raining, and so anyway, I'm getting ready to post a video on checking your solenoid and bench testing a solenoid. So I wanted to say a couple things about that. The reason you have a solenoid is because you don't want to carry the load across the switch. So I drew a little diagram, and so basically we have our battery. So we have our positive side, we have our negative side, which is going to go to ground. Okay, and then we're coming out of the positive side, and we're hitting the hot side of the solenoid where it's going to pass through. So whenever this is engaged, so the positive then goes through the switch. When the switch is closed, it sends a signal right to the S side of the solenoid, which is called signal. And this would be ignition. So now this is passing through and going to ground, which allows the signal to pass through the solenoid over to the starter. And the starter is ground, and it engages the starter. So that's how it works. Pretty simple circuit, really. You know, if you had these swapped, the solenoid wouldn't work because it's not seeing it to ground is the reason why. So anyway, you'll see in the video me bench testing it, and so that's a simple starter circuit, and just thought I could draw it out real quick and everybody would understand. So anyway, hope everybody's doing well, and hopefully we get this rain over with. It's probably a little start of the summer, so we're gonna have some afternoon showers, I guess. Alright, here's a new one for me. So this is a brand new solenoid. Hopefully you can see it. Let me go this way a little, maybe down. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it. So I'm bench testing it because I couldn't get anything out of it. Straight out of the box, brand new. And so I've got a battery down here that you can't see, but it's on the floor. And so I've got negative. It's coming up to this lead, and then I just got my negative to my meter, right? And I've got my little switch box with a key. I know it's good. I just tested it. And then I've got the positive side from the battery coming here, okay? And then I also have my lead going to my switch. And so when I put power to this guy, right, it should click. Oh, and then this is going, you know, to my positive side of my lead on my meter. Oh, it's working now. Weird. Okay, well that's good. It wasn't working a second ago. I thought it was weird that we had, but you hear it clicking now. And when I look at my meter, it's showing 12 point something volts. So we must have, a weird connection. Something caused it. Very, very strange. Indeed, it wasn't working. Now it's working. The thing is brand new, so we can hear it clicking. I can see voltage on my meter, which I have a terrible meter. I spilled some acetone or something on the display, and I can't see it very good, but hopefully maybe you can see that. See It's a low battery, but it's definitely clicking. So there's to here, you know, so like S is going to be your signal, you know, from the key, and then I is ground, and these are your two hots. So you can see that that's working. I have another one here that I suspected was weak. Excuse me. Early in the morning. You know, I could test that theory, and you know, just take my battery off. My battery leads down here, and I could throw that on here real quick. Let's see what happens. So I'm kind of curious why we're having such a weird issue. You know, I just have these on here kind of hand tight. Well, this one not, maybe so much. Yeah. So that's clicking. Still bizarre that maybe this was loose too. I was hoping to show you a bad one and a good one, but I don't know. May show you two good ones. There's some videos on this, not a big deal. But I'm gonna throw, this is the original one, which I suspected was weak when it came in. So I just went ahead and bought another one. And this is probably original to the motor. Not to be a replace artist or anything, but when I bench tested this one, it was working, but it wasn't like strong, you know, strong like bull. No, it was kind of weak. But I think whenever you get a situation like that, if you know, test them real quick, because, you know, it could be something else. You know, something's drawing the cabling down, or you got a voltage draw somewhere where it doesn't have enough voltage to fire the solenoid. So, you know, and if you're having problems with your starter, you know, it's good to like just do a basic bench test. I have to get a little, I don't know what this is, 3/8? That's too small. Do a bench test, and then that way you can determine, well, yeah, that's definitely bad, or, you know, I mean, these solenoids are pretty robust. And if you think about it, they do get used, but it's not like they're, you know, they're not used that great, in that, you know, you're just starting to stop in a motor. You think about how many hours you do, and it's not it's not a lot. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like a lot of these are probably last a long time, because, you know, they're just not. I gotta find a wrench. Maybe one of these might work. All my wrenches are out there. I think it's 3/8, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get my wrenches. So hang tight. I'm gonna go grab my wrenches. Just grab those real quick. I don't knock over my coffee. Let's see what I got here. Yeah. Oh yeah, beeping at me. Excuse me. Alright, so still kind of got our leads hooked up. So this negative is your ground, and hopefully I have, this was not labeled S or I, so could have them backwards. And if that's the case, then, you know, I'll swap that around. That'll be our hot out to my meter, you know, to here. Like I said, there's a bunch of videos on solenoids. They're used so much, you know, motorcycles, everything. So yeah, signal for my key. This will be hot. So I'm gonna have where's my hot over here? This is gonna be my hot, you know, for my battery. Right. And then this is my negative on this side. So we'll turn the key and see if we get any clicking. See, that one's working good too. Actually, really good. Okay, so that's a good solenoid. So for the customer, I'm going to put this solenoid, I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to put it back on. No reason for him to get a new solenoid if this one's working. And because like I said, they're pretty robust, unless the guy just wants one. But I believe he's got another wiring issue that's causing a drawdown, and that I'll have to find. So, you know, if I don't charge him another solenoid, then, you know, that'll be good, because it gets expensive. And then if I need a solenoid, I got a solenoid, so, in stock. Anyway, that's a little video on checking your solenoid. You could tap, you know, like if you didn't have a little switch box like I got. But that's a good way to check it. And then, I don't know, he did have a starter. I tried to wind it up, and it would not wind up. That would be another thing to do, is like put a cable from here to a starter and see if you got, you know, your starter working. So you'd want a big cable, you know, you'd want a battery cable connected to here, and then on this side you'd have another battery cable that would be, I'm sorry, it's like pointing, and I'm a terrible camera guy. But like if you wanted to check the starter, bench test the starter, I'm putting a new starter on it because I know his is weak. But you could put a battery cable on your connection here, right? And then out of here you have another, your other off the motor, the battery cable that goes to the starter. And you just have to ground the outside casing of the starter as well, and then you could use your key to test the starter to make sure it was working all right. Bendex is going down, up and down, and turning. So, but that's not gonna totally tell you the whole story, because once the starter's under load, turning the engine, that's another that's kind of a different, that's another story where you need to figure that out, like by load testing it on the motor, because if it works on the motor, then you obviously got a good starter. But this is just a good way to bench test this and to bench test the starter. I've got a brand new starter I put on his, so because I've already bench tested the other one and it's weak. Anyway, good morning. Hope everybody is having a good one.
Are you